Have you been thinking about getting a machine learning job? If you have been, you are at the right place. This is episode 22nd of Data Science and AI Weekly. Hi everyone, my name is Manav. I'm the Chief Data Science Mentor. If you have not subscribed to our channel, just subscribe immediately. You will never miss an update when we release the next podcast. And I'm in conversation for the last 3 episodes with Deepesh Wadhwani, one of the most loved faculty. And in this episode, we are primarily going to focus on how to crack machine learning interviews and what are some of the tips that you should keep in mind when you're aiming for machine learning jobs, right? So let me start, Deepesh, this interview by welcoming you. You have been graceful enough to be here with us for the 4th episode as well.
Thank you so much. Trust me, I'm learning more than you probably are, so I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, so great. So Deepesh, let's talk about first question is that the focus of this video is how to crack machine learning interviews. We have already done a video on how to crack data science interviews. Is there any difference between data? Now, since machine learning interviews tend to, as you mentioned, focus more on machine learning algorithms and you are expected to know machine learning algorithms, can you talk about some of the questions, for example, that might appear in machine learning interviews?
All right. So an interview usually starts by asking one of these 3 basic questions. What is linear regression? What is logistic regression? Or what is decision tree?
And why do you think most of the interviewers start in that fashion? To me, I mean, most of the interviewers start with very simple question because some of the candidates even fail in those questions I have seen, and they just want to filter whether should we even ask you more difficult questions or not.
Correct. I should have mentioned, I am assuming that a preliminary round has happened and we are now fine in the core round of machine learning interviewing.
Yeah.
So
so then that means that these questions possibly are redundant in that sense. Aren't they?
No, actually they are not. A person, if he's able to talk about decision trees, only then will the person be talked about, let's say, boosted trees. So if we want to ask somebody what is XGBoost, a good approach is to ask about decision tree, to ask about what are the cons of decision tree, and simply ask how will you correct for that con, and the answer could be
so you would
XGBoost.
So you would not directly ask what is XGBoost.
Absolutely.
But it will be a leading question which will lead you to XGBoost. Correct. Without the interviewer using that particular
exactly.
machine
Because
learning
the
algorithm.
objective of the interviewer is to check if the person can create that sequence correctly in
Right.
the machine learning project. So the sequence is starting with something basic, understanding the error, and then going back and correcting for the error.
Right.
And hence he will never lead with what is XGBoost or what is regularization. He'll just suggest, okay, now that if you are having this problem, how will you correct for it?
Right. So essentially another point just to add to what Deepesh has already mentioned is that please do not expect textbook definitions of textbook questions like what is blah blah blah, what is regularization. What interviewers want to see is whether you understand how all of these things are interconnected
Absolutely
to each
right.
other, right?
Absolutely.
And only if you have some good understanding of everything, then you will be able to interconnect all of these in a good manner.
Actually, that is what brings me to our structure of machine learning 1, 2, and 3. The way we have structured our curriculum is to come up with these basics, then talk about their cons and how can we correct for them, and eventually create light of a dot connected with each other in our brains.
Right.
So that is what we are trying to do with machine learning 1, 2, and 3.
So essentially we are doing neural networks of machine learning itself, right? So you're doing everything to each other.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Now, since the interview is how to crack machine learning roles, what I want to understand is till what, and you're in machine learning interviews, you are expected to be good in machine learning. Till what level of machine learning algorithms should I as a candidate know? Because machine learning, it can be infinite, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
should I learn algorithms all the way to boosting and bagging and even more advanced algorithms? Or should I just focus on 10 to 15 machine learning algorithm decision trees, then PCA, LDA, and all of those, and SVM, and say that this is the scope of the work and be really, really good at it?
Actually, both of the approaches work very well, depending on the company we are interviewing for. Let's say we want to get into Amazon, or we want to get into YouTube, a vertical YouTube in Google, or Microsoft, where they extensively use neural networks. We will have to learn neural networks. But there are, of course, companies who will work on SVM. There are companies who work only on linear regression. So trust me, the word linear regression sounds easy. If we have to write a book, it will be 1,000 pages. So
you think you can write a book in linear regression?
No. Writing a book on linear regression is probably more difficult than understanding all questions together. So
and here in the data science world, linear regression is something that we think is the easiest thing
to understand. But again, as we go on developing a particular algorithm, we can go in as deep as possible. So this question really can be answered only after reading what the company does and what they want our part in the team to be.
Fantastic. So what you're basically saying is the approach needs to be based on the company that,
absolutely,
and you need to understand that's why that whether that company will even interview me or not.
Correct.
Right. So if say you're mentioning some of these companies that will require, let's say, neural networks, right? So even if I've not done neural networks and I am even writing in my resume, possibly they'll start quizzing me on neural networks.
Correct.
Right? Yeah.
But like in the same breath, I usually say a thing. If a company doesn't shortlist us for a data science or a machine learning role for interviewing, it's probably win-win. Because if the company is looking for somebody who can do really good neural networks, we, even if selected, might feel not at home there. So data science is a huge field. There is a lot of opportunity, and every person, every data scientist, every machine learning expert is a little different from each other. And the role which is best suited for us, we should try and search for that one.
Makes sense. So basically you need to look at the company, you need to look at your own strength, you need to look at a lot of factors before you are sure that you'd be able to crack machine learning interviews, right?
Correct.
So this was episode 22nd. This was how to crack machine learning interviews, and I hope you loved this episode. If you did, leave your comment in the comment section, and if you want to watch the previous episodes of this amazing podcast series that we are doing, just go to the description and you would be able to see the playlist. This is Manav. I'm signing